Hey, what's up guys? This is Enemy Stand User. Hope you guys are doing good. Today, if you don't know, is super hype because leading from the events from the previous chapters, we are now in the Colon game arc. And our squad of sorcerers have made their plan and we get to see bits of what's happening inside of the barriers in the different colonies all around Japan now. But just to let you know, the manga will be on break until maybe around the 17th, just so we won't get a chapter next week. But that does give a little bit of time for me to make more videos for you guys, and hopefully I can get my new revised breakdown on Mojito, and I'm working on that. But share what you guys think about the video, and let's start off with the chapter. This chapter pops off with a rogue group of Koen game players with this jet girl and boy whose names are Hanyu and Amay revealed later in the chapter, but what they are doing now is scouting the area and looking for newcomers to this game so that they could take points from them. And more on that later, but we see this girl's curse technique, like her hair turns into like a fighter jet. So Gigi has some very weird and wacky and funky unique art, but it looks really crazy. But we then cut to Megumi and Yuji approaching the colony and they're about to enter it. And Megumi actually states something incredibly interesting about the sorcerers that are reincarnating from hundreds and even thousands of years ago, saying how in those days, in that sort of Heian era, that Edo era, the human life was totally looked at from a different perspective and how it is now. And for them fighting and dying, it was only natural, and they wanted to die in battle. And that could be the reason why they formed a contract with Kenjaku. And I actually made a point like that. I mentioned that in my theory video about how these ancient sorcerers might have wanted to fight, and that's why they may have aligned with Kenjaku to be reborn in the future. Now they're reborn in the future and to continue this rampage. But Megumi goes on to say that Kashimo and Higuroma could be these revived sorcerers, but on the other hand, Tsukimi is one of the new modern sorcerers caught up in this Koen game. So all this madness on top of cursed spirits running rampant and being involved, it really creates this cursed battleground for sorcerers to die, to thrive, and to kill each other, hence it being called a Koen game. It's like a battle royale. And it's a battle royale for sorcerers basically, and Megumi then states his own participation in the game and tells Yuji they are here to gather information on Higuroma. But did you notice and see Fushiguro when they were entering the game? He was looking a little pressed for time and he was kind of malicious, I would say. But I feel the situation with his sister going on right now and his teacher Gojo really has Megumi heated, and he's really pressed and stressed, I'd say. And well, we'll go over that toward the end, because Megumi, he really now is starting to make his intentions known. But now, once Yuji enters this barrier, he teleports into the air and is dropped in a random area. They're falling. Why'd they enter? Whoa. Bro, what the? Where are we dropping? Bro, this is a freaking battle royale, bro. It is so cool that Gigi did that. That's clean. That's clean. And we see people down there splat. Some people didn't make it. A player? A traffic wand? Are those who target players who are still disoriented after their unexpected? What is this dude spawn camping? This is about to be lit, bruh. And that is one of the game mechanics that is not disclosed to players initially, that once they enter, each player would be transported to a random selection of 1 to 9 locations. And it looked like Yuji had one of the worst locations because he automatically started falling. And we could see some blood splats of people who weren't so lucky and didn't make it. But the rogue sorcerers from earlier started to attack and were actually working together. And based on what they were mentioned as being beginner hunters, I assume they're kind of like, what can you call it? Like spawn campers who go after newbie Koen game players. And Amay uses this air traffic wand to signal Hanyu, the jet girl from earlier, to engage and attack Itadori. But we saw Yuji was pretty much shut all that down with one piece of rubble. But then a new character, Haba, who was Hanyu's partner, shows up with that same sort of air vehicle hair curse technique with some helicopter hair to fight Yuji. But right now, I think we're dealing with some, I would say, fodder players at the moment, and Yuji is more than ready to throw hands first and to talk later. And now we get to see this new character, Amay. He sort of sees the situation going on, and he actually recognizes Yuji from somewhere else in the past. We then cut to Megumi's situation as he then defeats a very enticing young lady named Remy, who attacked Fushiguro, but Fushiguro, due to the mechanics of the game, he was separated from Yuji, and even his Shikigami Nue couldn't spot him, so Yuji was extremely far away. Megumi even estimated he was around 2 kilometers away. Megumi then interrogates Remy about Higuroma to see if she knows anything about where Higuroma could be. So she sulks on her knees and goes on about how she feels about men and different little funny things like that, and actually might know something about where Higuroma is, but since she is in this position and she is a sorcerer, she asks Megumi first to do her a favor. And you know, they kind of share a little funny interaction, but she asks Fushiguro to be her knight, and immediately Megumi agrees, and you could tell he is extremely annoyed and impatient, as in the following panel he would be her knight and protect her, but if she is lying, he threatens to take her life, saying he's different than Itadori and he didn't mind earning 100 points himself. And the chapter ends with Remy saying, "Stop calling me you, call me Remy." So the Culling game already is off to a really crazy and a really wacky start, and this Remy character is looking to be a very seductive maybe character, and the chapter suggests, enticing, and she definitely has ulterior motives and gives me bad vibes, like it's a trap. Still though, she's looking kind of bad though with all that cake and cleavage, and I mean Toto would definitely approve. And I'm just saying, I don't think I've ever seen Gigi draw a character. I don't really remember Gigi drawing a character quite like this before with all that, but her curse technique and her power really might reflect that enticing nature. And Fushiguro's statement at the end of the chapter is interesting too, and I think that is an indication of Megumi's own conviction and his own sense of justice as a sorcerer, and what he's willing to do to save others like his sister. And at the end of the game, we're starting to see more of I think we're going to see more of his choices and how Megumi operates as a sorcerer, and that is awesome to see. And that last line at the end is very interesting, and I want to see if Megumi will be pushed over the edge and sort of join in on that carnage happening in all the other Culling games, because Megumi, he's always willing to push himself and get a little crazy to achieve his goals, so he is likely going to change throughout this arc, especially if he has to fight his sister Tsukimi or even kill Tsukimi, and I think that would really push him over the edge. Those beginner hunters too though, I honestly think those characters are more fodder players, but now Amay, he might be a character that could mix up the situation a little bit, and he does have ties with Yuji and could have known Yuji before all of this, like before Yuji even knew about the Jujutsu world and ate the finger. He could have knew him before that, which would be interesting. And recently people have been saying like maybe this character Amay could have been a relative to the Nida family, and that's very believable as well because of how his hair is, and they sort of have the same style. And all the Nidas, well, at least the Nida boys, if he was a Nida, they don't have that much confidence as a sorcerer, but it seems he seems to be a very reluctant and a nervous character. So I wonder if he could be an ally or like a friend to Yuji and help him find Higuroma or get the Fushiguro. And Higuroma too is a huge factor, because it's looking like Higuroma is going to be a really big deal right now for the story. And if you think about it, guys, he's got an entire chapter just focusing on one character in 159. So you gotta expect JJ is going to do something major for this character Higuroma during this arc. And he could be a really decent villain or sort of anti-villain. But then again, you think about it, Yuji, and he could be a character against Yuji, but you know what he did to players on the leaderboard, so we have no clue what state of mind Higuroma is in, or how we expect him to be when we do meet him again. And we've seen how crazy his points are, so he's probably went on a massive kill streak, seeing how he does have 100 points. And like Megumis said, these sorcerers, they do love violence and death, and it's only natural to them, and they must be like a sort of kill on sight sort of deal with their massive killing streaks right now. So we don't know what's going on there. Another thing that just popped into my head is that in chapter 143, the same chapter we found out about Tsukimi's involvement in the game, this sort of figure that we saw in this chapter has to be Higuroma, because of that sort of sun medallion, and it's the same one the lawyers in Japan have, that sunflower medallion of justice that they wear. And he is standing in this very obscure and mysterious position with blood splattered on him on the floor. And I don't know about y'all, but that kind of looks like the mark on Tsukimi's head, that sort of pattern. So Higuroma might be even deeper than even I thought, and he could have ties with Tsukimi now, like deep ties. So that would make him a really major roadblock for the sorcerers, especially to Megumi. But we may not get a chapter next week, but the following week we may get to see how things are going in other colonies, in the Tokyo No.2 colony where the angel is, and the situation with Panda and Hikari's situation, and also what Yuta's doing right now. We may get to that, but most of all, I want to know, where is the help? I mean, we didn't get to see any teachers, faculty members, or students from Jujutsu High or Kyoto High, and I really don't think the higher ups are just sitting idly by while Japan is literally falling apart. So either most of them are healing from the Shibuya incident, or they're evacuating civilians, or doing other things in other areas, or what I may be thinking right now, maybe they could be in other colonies since they know the Colon games are going on. But the higher ups and the other Jujutsu clans have to be doing something. But I would love to hear how you guys feel about that, what you guys think they're doing, the whereabouts of the characters, because I would love to see some familiar faces deeper along we get into the Colon game. Something else to consider too is Sukuna is always a factor in the story, and he only has 5 fingers left till he could be reborn as far as we know, but he has been silent for a while. But I think these sorcerers that will eventually engage Yuji, they're going to know that he is the vessel, and Sukuna could make his presence known then. But then I think now that curses are out of balance and have a larger impact on Japan, so essentially they now are stronger, and that the balance is out of whack. And who knows, the next finger bearer we could see would be much more of a threat now that the curses are taking over and could even attain reason. Like the cursed wounds and the special grades that we have seen, it could really get bad as far as we know. But that is just crazy to think about, these more curses and special grades showing up that actually have reason, because that could be a very, very valid thought. But I'm loving what JJ is developing with the Colon game arc, and all the different ways and the different things that could progress. It really gets me hyped each week, and I anticipate the next chapter one after the other. There's just banger after a banger. But I really appreciate you guys checking out my channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Yes, share this video with friends or others who are interested, so that I can keep making contents that you guys would enjoy. And if you want you could join my Discord, and I would be super hyped to talk to you guys and chat with you all about manga, anime, and anything at all really. But the next video I hopefully can get out this week would be a crazy video about the human curse mojito. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this, and this is Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.